Hey everyone, good morning. James Azar here. Happy Super Tuesday. It's March 3rd. It also happens to be Super Tuesday in 14 states of our great nation who will be exercising what is one of the greatest privileges of a democratic society, the option to vote. We have a few stories on Super Tuesday today from a cyber perspective, but before that, let's get into your daily cyber briefing on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020, and here are our headlines. A Walgreens app errors has customers viewing each other's personal messages and information. The U.S. government warns foreign actors with sharp consequences if they meddle in Super Tuesday. U.S. Treasury sanctions 2 Chinese nationals for laundering cryptocurrency for the North Korean hackers. And active scans for Apache, Tomcat, Ghostcat vulnerability have been detected. So the time to patch is, guess what? Now. And now for your daily cyber briefing, brought to you by our friends over at CyberHub USA. Go to cyberhubusa.co for virtual CISO services and human-like cyber awareness training that isn't a click forward on your computer. For more, again, go to cyberhubusa.co for more information. And now we'll get into today's leading story, where America's second largest pharmacy store chain has disclosed an app error that let customers view private personal messages of other customers. For nearly a week last month, users of the Walgreens mobile app were able to view the first and last names and shipping addresses of other customers together with their prescription numbers, the names of the drugs they've been prescribed, and the store number of the branch fulfilling their order. Walgreens filed a data breach report with the California Department of Justice on Friday, February 28th, including a sample of the breach notification letter the company sent out to affected customers. In the letter, the company explains, we recently learned of an unauthorized disclosure of one or more of your secure messages within the Walgreens mobile app. The company goes on to state that from January 9th to January 15th of 2020, personal messages from Walgreens that were stored in a database were viewable by other customers using the Walgreens mobile app. According to Walgreens, the breach was due to an internal error in Walgreens mobile app personal secure messaging feature. Walgreens said that the swift action was taken once the breach came to light and gave no information regarding how the exposure was discovered. The pharmacy chain said that only a small percentage of its customer base was affected by the incident and that no financial data or social security numbers were exposed. The store then promised to carry out additional testing of the app in the future to make sure changes don't compromise the privacy of customer data. One of the challenges with an app and all this different information is obviously the constant idea of checking before you see it in production. We saw this issue being discussed a lot at RSA last week, and so plan on this becoming even more central to different incidents we learn about over the course of this year, regardless of size. So this may have only affected maybe a few 100,000 clients of Walgreens. The number is really unspecified at this time as to how many people were affected by this. However, this does bring up the issue of AppSec and DevSecOps and so many others that need to be addressed. And now to our next story. It is Super Tuesday, and 8 U.S. government agencies, folks, 8, published a joint statement today warning foreign actors with sharp consequences if they attempt to influence public sentiment and shape voter perceptions ahead of today's Super Tuesday presidential primary. The joint statement was signed by the heads of all major U.S. government agencies involved in securing the electoral process, such as the Department of State, Department of Justice, Department of Defense, DHS, Office of ODNI, FBI, NSA, and CISA. The joint statement comes a day before came out yesterday, when over 2 million voters from 14 states will vote for the Democratic primary candidate who they want to face President Trump in the elections taking place in the fall of this year. While the Democratic presidential primary season has been underway for more than a month with elections in a few lone states, Super Tuesday makes the first time that primary elections will be held across multiple states at once ahead of the presidential election in November. Foreign interference at a state level is often difficult to pull off because of the small voter population that threat actors must target. But Super Tuesday is the first event in the 2020 U.S. presidential election process with a multi-state and broad national involvement. This marks the first real opportunity foreign actors will have in putting their stamp on the upcoming election process and the U.S. political landscape. Not really true. This is where they can get us to doubt our democratic process altogether. Since the 2016 presidential election, where such efforts have been felt for the first time in the U.S., government officials said they've been working to improve government defenses against possible election meddling. The 8 agency heads now claim the level of coordination and communication between the federal government, state, local, and private sector partners is stronger than it's ever been, and this won't deter external threat actors from trying their luck today. Instead, the agency heads reminded U.S. voters that they have a role to play too, and are now calling on Americans to prepare for the election in advance. In a statement from the in a quote from the joint statement reads, "We encourage all voters going to the polls to check your voter registration and know ahead of time when to vote, where to vote, what's on your ballot, and whether your state requires identification. Your state or local official office is the most trusted source for election material. A well-informed and vigilant republic is the best defense against disinformation." Today's Super Tuesday primary includes elections in our neighboring Alabama, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, and Virginia. So just if you're watching from any of those states, know that nothing is reported on social media from an election council. If there is anything on there, especially with the coronavirus going around and the spread of it, people trying to create panic, including the media itself, just understand that those reports would be coming from the CDC and the governor's office and not from anywhere else. So CNN isn't going to be the first to report a case of coronavirus. It'd rather come from the CDC and your state local officials. And now we move on to our next story, where the U.S. Treasury Department and the DOJ have imposed sanctions and indicted today 2 Chinese nationals on accusations of helping North Korean hackers launder cryptocurrency stolen during hacks of 2 cryptocurrency exchanges. The Department of Justice followed suit with, according to U.S. officials, Tian Yin and Li Jiadong acted with an intermediaries and money mules for Lazarus Group, a code name used by the cybersecurity industry to describe criminals working on behalf of the North Korean government. The Lazarus Group is one of the 3 North Korean hacking units that the U.S. accused last year of helping Pyongyang regime raise funds for its weapons and missiles program. The Treasury and DOJ claimed the hackers were helping North Korea skirt international sanctions by raising money through cyber theft, such as the use of ransomware and hacks of banks, ATM networks, gambling sites, online casinos, and cryptocurrency exchanges. Money stolen from these cyber intrusions made its way back into North Korea with the help of cryptocurrency, money mules, and Chinese banks. In a press release published yesterday, the U.S. Treasury and DOJ said that Tian and Li were an important cog in this elaborate scheme. The 2 would receive stolen funds and then work to launder the money either by converting it into Chinese fiat currency, yuan, or into Apple gift cards that could be used without being linked back to the stolen cryptocurrency. According to Treasury and DOJ, Tian and Li received funds from the DPRK controlled accounts on 2 separate occasions. The largest sum of money they received was a batch of $91 million that was stolen in April of 2018 hack of an unnamed cryptocurrency exchange. They also received $9.5 million stolen from a second exchange. U.S. officials said Tian and Li helped convert more than $34 million of the $91 million they received back into Chinese yuan, which they deposited into a Chinese bank account. Additionally, they converted $1.4 million worth of bitcoins into Apple gift cards. Neither the DOJ nor the Treasury named any of the 2 hack exchanges, but they said the first exchange involved in the April 2018 hack lost $250 million in the attack, making it one of the biggest cryptocurrency hacks of all time. Hence, in the U.S. Treasury press release suggested the April 2018 hack is the same one described in a Kaspersky report published in August of 2018. The report also mentions a mysterious hack of a major cryptocurrency exchange that took place earlier in the year and involved the use of a novel Mac malware named Apple Juice. As a result of today's actions, all property and interest in property of these individuals that are in the United States or in the possession or control of U.S. persons must be blocked and reported to OFAC. The Treasury said the sanctions do not apply to Chinese bank, and it is very likely that North Korean criminals will continue to launder money via this route undisturbed. However, today's Treasury press release might well serve as a warning shot fired by U.S. authorities against the Chinese banking sector. The Treasury imposed similar sanctions on a small Macau-based bank in 2005 for helping North Korea avoid international sanctions. While the bank was a minor player, the Treasury designation led to many larger Chinese banks to cut ties with the Pyongyang regime. This continues the trend of this current administration and the U.S. government policy now of prosecuting China in everything that it involves. It is no longer going to be swept under the rug or just maybe ignored or brought up under discussions in diplomatic channels. It's now being pursued to the full extent of the law, showing just the malicious acts that the Chinese do in order to destabilize and help rogue regimes as a communist nation. And our final story involves Patch Now Alert. Ongoing scans for Apache Tomcat servers unpatched against the Ghostcat vulnerability that allows potential attackers to take over servers have been detected over the weekend. As cyber threat intel firm Bad Packets said on Saturday, mass scanning activity now targeting this vulnerability has already begun. Patch Now. Ghostcat is a high-risk file read include vulnerability track to CVE 2021-938 and present in the Apache JServe protocol of the Apache Tomcat between versions 6.x and 9.x. The Apache Tomcat developers have released version 7.0.100 and 8.5.51 and 9.0.31 to patch the vulnerability. However, users of version 6.x will have to upgrade to a newer version since this branch has already reached end of support and is no longer updated. The last updated for 6.x was released on April 7th of 2017. All unpatched Apache Tomcat 6, 7, 8, and 9 installation ships with AGP connector enabled by default and listening on all configured server IP addresses on port 8009er. Tenable says that the proof of concept exploits have already been shared by security researchers on GitHub. If you can't immediately update or upgrade your server to a patched Tomcat version, ChineTech research team recommends disabling the AGP connector altogether if not actively used or configured the required secret attribute for the AGP connector to set authentication credentials. ChineTech also provides a security assessment tool that will help you discover Tomcat servers vulnerable to attacks targeting GhostHub on your network. According to Shodan, more than 890,000 Tomcat servers currently reachable over the internet, while Binary Edge found over 1 million. The affected Apache Tomcat versions and the ones where the Ghostcat vulnerability has been patched are listed in the table below. Tomcat treats AGP connections as having a higher trust than, for example, a similar HTTP connection. The developers explain if such connections are available to an attacker, they can be exploited in ways that may be surprising. In addition to the website application that allows users to upload file, an attacker can first upload a file containing malicious JSP script code to the server. The uploaded file itself can be any type of file such as pictures, plain text files, etc., and then include the uploaded file by exploiting the Ghostcat vulnerability, which finally can result in a remote code execution. According to SNCC and Red Hat, Tomcat also ships with apps built using the Spring Boot Java framework, as well as other Java-based servers and frameworks, including but not limited to JBoss web servers and JPOS enterprise application platform, as reported by ZDNet. So make sure you are patching these vulnerabilities. That's it for your daily cyber briefing today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you're following us on your make sure you're subscribing to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. Give us 5 stars. Write your reviews. We see the 5 stars and we appreciate them, but we love to get some feedback as well. Until tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your day. On Thursday, we will be with our friends over at the Atlanta Cybersecurity Conference hosted by Data Connectors in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. So make sure you stop by, say hello, come check it out. Registration is free on our website for those that want to attend. So just go to cyberhubengage.com and go to events, and you can register right there for this specific event. Until tomorrow, when we'll be back with more, and Thursday, where we hope to see you all at the Atlanta Cybersecurity Conference. Stay cyber safe.